Hey, everybody, welcome to Matt Men, your source for all things professional wrestling. I'm Andrew Zayn. I'm joined by, at one point, this man became the leader of the Morlocks, the Palladians, and the Reptilians, the one, the only Rich Stambolian.
Absolutely, but I would never want to be a part of a club that would elect me as president.
You were the leader. Out of all the aliens, which ones are you? Give me like your top three.
I'm a big fan of the Greys.
Okay, who doesn't love the Greys? They probe you. They show up in the dead of night. They touch you with their little hands. They do their weird telekinesis.
Big beautiful eyes.
Big beautiful eyes.
And I'm a big fan of the Nords.
Very, I see a lot of those walking in Manhattan.
Very underrated, the Nords. A lot of them are in Williamsburg.
How about the Mantis people?
I don't like the Mantis people.
And the Reptilians? Not into them.
I'm cool with the Reptilians. I'm not a fan of the Mantis people. I'm more a fan of the Crab people.
The Crab people are cool. Look like crab, talk like people, 100%. And my one, and the Palladians. The Palladians are good too. I like the Palladians. This show's all about the different alien races and how they cohabitate in the universe. A lot to talk about here.
When are we doing ancient
otherwise known as
Mad
professional
Men?
wrestling?
Dude, we should do Alien Men.
Alien Men would be the best. We just talk about our nonsense theories that people will believe and then tell their families.
So you go. Look at the conversation in the chat room. The Pigeon King. I love the Mantis people. Shiv McQueen in the chat room. I'm a Mole Man guy. What type of alien is MG?
MG is a type of alien.
He's like he's an elf. This dude eats cats, dude.
He's definitely from Melmac.
He's definitely you know what? He's from Or Orc. He could be from Orc.
He's
Nanu
half
Nanu.
Mogwai, half Mogwai, half Alf.
Ballot Club guys, he's a great guy. He's a great alien guy. I love this. This is what we're going to do now. We're just going to talk about aliens for the remainder of the show. What other professional wrestling podcast can you tune into on a Friday morning at 10:30 where the show just begins with random alien talk?
Mean, isn't wrestlers aliens anyway? They're a type of alien.
Well, some of them are. Some of those people came from a different dimension. You don't get this with Dave Meltzer.
No.
Is Dave Meltzer... You know what? I want to know which alien race is Dave Meltzer's favorite. What does he get 5 stars to?
All right. So let me posit this. If you walk up to Dave one day and you were like, hey, man, how do you feel about extraterrestrials? I feel like he would just say no and then walk away from you.
He would. You know what? Brian Alvarez would talk about this because Brian's into this stuff. Yeah, he does. Yeah. He's all into the cryptoids and he loves Bigfoot. Do you know this about Brian? Brian Alvarez loves Bigfoot. He's a big Bigfoot fan, big Yeti fan,
guy.
Big cryptoid guy. He does a show that he actually. It's actually wild. Did you ever listen to Coast to Coast with Art Bell?
No.
Okay. I love that show. It would come on at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I would listen always during the summer. It was Art Bell. Then it was George Norrie for a while. But he was a big Art Bell fan. And Art Bell would do this show from like the middle of the desert and talk. And people would call in. He's like, I'm a time traveler. I'm from the time of 2099. And this was, it was a wacky show. Brian was like a fan of that. And he ended up becoming like... essentially, like the host on his new flagship when he came back to do the show. Brian was doing like alien talk and stuff. I thought it was very, very cool. I'm into it.
You know what I want to do with you one day? I want to go to the Ancient Aliens convention.
Please take
because it's all our favorites. Tsoukalos is there. Von Daniken's always shows up.
Eric Von Daniken, Chariots of the Gods.
Yep, Chariots of the Gods, and what's his name too? I always forget his name. The older white gentleman.
Oh, with the voice, yeah.
With the voice, yeah. Aliens are here.
Aliens. I love all of that stuff.
Same.
I love all that stuff. Talking about aliens, there's a lot of wrestling to talk about.
Yes.
And sometimes it seems like we're on a different planet. You know what I always wonder? Like, if aliens turn the TV on, right? And they're like, all of a sudden they're picking up, like, world television. And they put on professional wrestling. What do they think of this? You think they're watching this and thinking, what the hell are these people doing?
I think they look at it and go, this is how they solve their problems.
This is how they solve their problem. They're still not ready.
In an arena, this is how they solve their problems.
I want to. There's this TikTok that I watch, and it's like it's aliens from like a whole. There's like a whole lore with it, and they talk about humans like we're like ancient beings and we're a myth, and it's so fascinating because it's like exactly what we do. We're like, did the Egyptians have some sort of technology that allowed them to communicate with the gods, or was it alien intervention? You know. All right, let's talk about wrestling.
Let's do it. You ready?
You want to go into news?
Yeah. Meiko Satomura retires from the ring. They played a video tribute featuring messages from Kairi Sane, Io Sky, Asuka, Shinsuke Nakamura, New Japan's Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Joshi legend Devil Masami. Triple H even acknowledged her on X, saying how much of an inspiration she was to the current women's wrestling landscape.
Yeah. 45 years old. Wrestled for a very long time.
Yeah.
She was excellent. Excellent wrestler.
She was awesome.
She's been all over, too.
Yeah.
You know, she wrestled in many places. She was in, she did AEW. She was in, do you know she was in WCW?
Oh, yeah.
People don't remember that. Could she have been the last active WCW wrestler? No, AJ Styles is still wrestling full time.
Yeah. And AJ
left?
was there for a little bit. You know, she also did NXT. She also did NXT UK.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's a champion.
Who is left? Who is left from that era that's still wrestling?
WCW?
WCW, it would be Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho. I would put Styles in because Styles was there at one point.
Does Sean Waltman still wrestle?
No, he hasn't in a while. He tried to do a comeback, and I don't know what happened. Rey Mysterio. That's another one.
Oh my God, yeah. That's a good one.
Actually, he did wrestle for TNA this last week.
He wrestled or he did a spot? He did a spot.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anybody else active? Like really, like Goldberg, he'll do his one-offs, but is there anybody that is doing like more than 5 matches a year from WCW?
That's a really good question. We said Rey Mysterio.
Nobody's left.
Rey Mysterio doesn't count?
No, I counted Ray. I said Ray, Styles.
Said Ray.
Okay. All right. I missed that. Sorry.
La Parka? But is it La Parka?
You know what alien race he's from? The Canherians.
The Canherians. Oh, yeah.
And also the Canspellians.
The Canspellians. He's half Canspellian and half Canherian. It's like a Romeo and Juliet situation. A family, they just don't like each other, those two races. Wild. Wild, MG. We figured it out. Liv Morgan, she's in a movie. Bad Lieutenant. Tokyo.
Yeah. This is going to be awesome. This is directed by Takashi Miike. And I don't know if you guys out there are familiar with Takashi Miike. Go watch Audition. Go watch Ichi the Killer. Go watch 13 Assassins. Go watch Visitor Q. Amazing Japanese director. And I think that's pretty effing fantastic that Liv Morgan landed a role in that.
Yeah, very cool. Talking about a movie, I want to talk about this. I'm really looking forward to this. It's A24 putting it out, so you know it's going to be something decent. Smashing Machine with The Rock. So, for people who don't know, The Rock is portraying Mark Kerr, just a ridiculous MMA fighter.
Yeah.
The Smashing Machine, the documentary. Did you ever see the documentary?
No.
Okay. The documentary follows Mark Kerr, and I think and Mark Coleman is in there also. And and they've taken scenes from the documentary. And they're doing it in the movie. Like, there's one that he's trying to get pills from the Japanese doctor, and that was like a memorable part in the documentary. I think the documentary was I remember watching it on Showtime. If you haven't seen it, I haven't seen it in a while. At the time, it really was a groundbreaking insight on how this works, on the life of a fighter that's banged up and he's, in Japan. Just tremendous. Oh, Jeff Jarrett, another WCW wrestler. That's another one. I would say go watch the documentary and then watch this movie. I'm really looking forward to this. Also, the size of Dwayne in that movie is bigger than he normally is.
Yeah.
He resembles this dude so much. Very much looking forward to this. If you don't know the story, go look it up. Mark Kerr's story was fascinating.
They did a really good job with the makeup on it. Also, it's a Safdie movie, so it has to be good, unless it's like you get that reverse Rock curse where it's just not good.
I hope that's not the case.
He needs a win. He needs a win. He needs a big win after Black Adam, I think, as far as movies go.
Yeah, he just fascinating. I'm looking forward to this. I hope it's done well. Emily Blunt's in it. Plays the girlfriend, Mark Kerr's girlfriend in there. Also, they have Bas Rutten's in it, but I think he's playing himself.
Oh, amazing.
Mark Coleman is in it. Kevin Randleman. So, is Kevin Randleman? No, Kevin Randleman died. I'm so sorry. Not Kevin Randleman. But a bunch of other people are in it. So I'm looking forward to it. The documentary was an HBO documentary. It came out in 2002. The Smashing Machine: The Life and Times of an Extreme Fighter, Mark Kerr. I would definitely recommend it. He looks gnarly though.
He looks really gnarly. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What else?
I wonder if he's gonna do like revisionist Rock history like he always does.
That he ends up developing a special power and he's able to like do a Kamehameha. Yeah.
Something like that. He saves a bunch of people from a burning building or some shit.
So yesterday, actually a couple days ago, Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff did an NWO style vignette.
They did.
And everybody started speculating. Okay. They started speculating that this is a podcast and there's a mystery third man. And the reveal was that he's a world-renowned wrestling coach, Izzy Martinez. He's the third man, and they are starting a promotion called Real American Freestyle Wrestling, where it'll feature 8 men's weight classes and 4 women's weight classes. The promotion's first event is set for August 30th in Cleveland. Hogan says the inspiration came for the league after watching Wyatt Hendrickson defeat Gable Steveson to win the NCAA National Heavyweight title. Now, that was a big deal. Like, they sold out UPenn.
Yeah.
NCAA wrestling over the last 2 to 3 years has become tremendously large.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. I'm a big fan of, real wrestling. But
wait a minute.
Okay. So, but this is not the first attempt at this. There was a promotion, I don't know, like over a decade ago called Real Pro Wrestling, Real Professional Wrestling, or whatever. It was something like that, and it didn't do great. So I don't know what this means. I don't know if this is.
Well, there's been catch wrestling promotions too.
There's a lot of catch wrestling promotions. Yeah. So I think it is the time, and that. And if you get the Hogan branding and Bischoff involved, I don't know. Maybe it'll do something. Maybe not. Do you know? Yesterday, I got a message. Okay. Hey, I have someone you should really meet. Okay, from a friend of mine. Did I show you the picture?
Yes.
Okay. And I said, oh, where? He goes, meet me. And he gave me the location. He goes, we're sitting down, we're having a drink, and we're having something to eat. I was already on the train because my brother's in town.
You should have pulled the emergency lever and hopped out the back and ran back up the stairs.
So one of my closest friends was having lunch with Hogan and Bischoff. And I was like, I would have stopped by.
Well, Bischoff knows you.
Bischoff does know me, yeah.
So what would you... And you've never met Hogan.
I've never met Hogan.
Would you immediately ask him about aliens?
100%. What are your thoughts of the reptilians, Hogan? Terry, can you ask me something? Can I ask you a question, Terry? Do you mind? Terry, do you mind, Terry?
I don't give a shit about your career or your beer. I want to talk to you about aliens.
Yeah. This wrestling stuff, I don't care. But what do you think of ancient aliens and ancient alien theory?
Brother, I love them. They probed me once.
Are you a fan of ancient astronauts?
It's fantastic.
And imagine he's like, I'm going to show you something. He just pulls the skin off, and it's like it's a fucking lizard. Go, shh. That's why he does this. This is how they call. This is like their conversation. This is how they hear.
That's his echolocation.
Yeah, that's his echolocation, dude. I should have gone, but I was on my way home. The reason why Hogan was here is that Hogan is somehow involved in a sports bar concept that's opening up where the old barbecue joint was, right next door to the Garden.
That's insane, by the way.
So they're calling it Scores. It's the Scores IP, like the actual Scores strip club IP, but it's not a strip club. They bought the name, and it's a sports bar. I think it's going to be like a sexy sports bar,
like a Hooters.
Maybe like I don't know. I don't know the exact concept, but kind of like maybe like a Hooters.
I'm going to pitch something to you.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
So, are we allowed to talk about where you work?
You could talk about where.
Okay. So you work at Sapphire's, high-end gentlemen's club, right? Hooters.
One of my clients.
Hooters is a party animal place with ladies with big knockers, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to pitch to you a competitor for Hooters. All right, you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
If you look at the name of the town Yonkers and weren't from New York, wouldn't you think that was a restaurant also dedicated to women with large breasts?
Yonkers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at the pair of Yonkers.
My pitch to you is to open Yonkers across the street from every Hooters in the city.
But here's the thing. For every Yonkers that we have another adjacent business for the ladies. It's called Yankers.
Perfect.
See, this is why I'm a marketing genius. This is why all these companies. Dongers, yeah, Dongers is good too. Yeah,
Yonkers
and Yonkers,
right next to each other.
It's like Mustang Sally's and Mustang Harry's.
Yeah, exactly.
Next door to each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got Coyote Ugly. You got Blazing Saddles.
Hogan's putting a bar. And I'm going to see his mustache.
Twin Peaks here.
Oh yeah, Twin Peaks is isn't that the coffee shop, the bikini coffee shop?
No,
which I think is the dumbest idea ever.
It's a Hooters.
No, yeah, it's Hooters knockoff or whatever you want to call it.
Do you remember when I won the Hawaiian Tropic contest in 2004 and I was Miss Hawaiian Tropic?
No,
that was a wild year.
Oh yeah.
That was a wild year for me. So Hogan's opening up a club, a bar. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Have you been to his bar in Florida?
No, but a couple of people that I know have, and they say it's a great time.
So I've been there.
And how was it?
It's fine. It's a bar, right?
Yeah.
It's just full of red and yellow and Hogan shit. That's it. That's all it is. And there's like a couple of Hogan flavored drinks.
Oh, what are they flavored as? Turpentine.
I think he's got like an atomic leg drop fucking frozen margarita or
lemon
some
drop.
shit.
Yeah, the atomic lemon drop martini.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, where are we?
I'm telling you, man, Yonkers. That's a good idea.
Yankers.
Conan on Triple A's future after the WWE purchase. Our show will look a lot better, and we're going to be able to work with their talent, not just NXT talent. And with money, you'll see what we can do. Great statement. That's what we've been saying for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, so, so for a lot of people, you know what I've discovered? For I don't know what reason, and I'm willing to bet it's accessibility. Even like our hardcore fans, right? The ones that watch New Japan, they watch everything. They are not really familiar with Lucha Libre.
Right.
It's a very unique style. AAA, if I'm going to describe it, AAA is more Americanized and CMLL is more authentic to Mexican wrestling.
Yeah.
Everything is Americanized now, right? The whole style has changed, and we know. But right now, CMLL is very hot. AAA is not as hot as CMLL. So this is, I'm very curious on how this is going to work out and what this means for AEW because, their partnership with CMLL is very strong. They did work with AAA for a little bit. They had AAA talent on. But I don't know what this means for as far as, AAA television distribution because now AAA's never really been in America.
Right. Could I ask you a question about this?
Yeah.
So as far as contracts go, are AAA talent signed exclusively to AAA or are they freelancers? For example, Hijo del Vikingo, he showed up on AEW a couple of times.
Not anymore.
No,
they're allowed to work certain places, but they cannot work with any CMLL like territory, or they cannot work with anybody from CMLL.
Okay.
So there's like it's almost like WWE guys. You could work an independent show, but you cannot work against a WCW guy.
Right. Okay. Like Bloodsport.
AEW guy.
Like Bloodsport, yeah. Like Bloodsport. I think it's interesting. I think this is positive for wrestling. I think this is going to be great for AAA. Their television production is going to look great. The wrestlers are going to look better.
You know who they're bringing in, right? You know who they brought in?
Who do they bring in?
Jeremy Borash is going to be creative with Conan.
Yeah, so I think that's a positive.
Difference.
Cool.
Yeah. But the deal is not done yet. They announced it early.
It would be cool if WWE sends their former AAA guys down there to pop the territory.
Oh, I think they are. I think all those guys are going to be there.
Yeah.
I think every one of those guys are going to be there. No question about it. No question.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. Yeah, we're going to see.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to see Vikingo on WWE TV. That's going to happen. You know, we already
That's
did.
going to be cool. Yeah.
That's going to be cool. Very interesting stuff. WWE announces Crown Drool.
Crown Jewel, baby.
Crown Drool. That's Jaru's brother. Crown Jewel.
Oh.
Crown Jewel in Perth. It's a PLE. This is the first one that is. Is this the first Crown Jewel that is not in Saudi Arabia?
I want to say
so.
yes. I want to say yes.
Very interesting. October 11th. It's being held at RAC Arena, and it'll host 3 WWE events within a 4-day span. SmackDown on the Friday, Raw on the Monday, and the pay-per-view on Saturday. So the 10th, 11th, and the 13th.
Wow.
Talking
Does this
about...
mean we're going to be able to watch... Does this mean we're going to be able to watch Raw at like 7 in the morning?
No, what time would that be? Yeah.
That's very...
They're 12. It would be 12 hours ahead, right? So their 8 o'clock would be 8 in the morning, I think.
Oh my God.
Their 8 p.m. would be 8 a.m.
Bloody Marys and Raw. There we go.
So let's look that. I'm going to look that up real quick while you talk about the next thing.
Yeah. Look at the time difference. So talking about residencies, this is very cool. AEW is holding a residency at the 2300 Arena, the ECW Arena, for the first time. It's going to happen from August 27th to September 11th in the historic venue in Philadelphia. They're running Dynamite, Collision, Death Before... Actually, I have it here. You missed some places. Dynamite on the 27th, Collision on the 30th, Dynamite on the 3rd, September 3rd, Death Before Dishonor on September 5th, Collision on September 6th, Dynamite on September 10th, and Collision on September 11th. This is essentially what they did for the Hammerstein show, where they ran a residency along, it wasn't 2 weeks worth of tapings, but it was a week's worth.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So that's right around the time of All Out. Are they doing All Out in New York? Or Philly or somewhere around there?
When is All Out? What date
it's usually
is All Out?
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, but that's a good question.
They haven't announced yet. I'm just asking. I'm just throwing it out
I don't know.
there.
Are they moving? I mean, they can move stuff around. Remember, the schedule's a little different this year.
Right.
Because All In is earlier.
Well, last year and they moved it. Yeah, last year they moved All Out another week, so there was a gap. They weren't back-to-back weekends. But this year, All In is...
I mean, they'll most likely run the Northeast, so they'll probably run, Boston, or I don't think they'll do Philly because you have so many in Philly. They could do New York.
Yeah.
They could do UBS. I haven't heard anything. Normally I get a little iggy from people, but I think that's cool. And they'll do well with this show. They'll do well in that building. Easy to get to. You'll get the people from north, people from south, east, west to show up. It's actually an easy place to get to Philly.
Yeah, it really is. Drivable, good city.
Yeah.
We should go to at least one of these.
Yeah. Maybe.
Perth is exactly 12 hours ahead.
Okay. So if they run it that's going to be a pain in the butt.
Breakfast time wrestling.
Breakfast time. Yeah. Yeah, because they can't even manipulate the time of that show.
Right.
They can't even put it on at like 12 noon because it's 12 a.m. So we'll see. Where do you want to go, Rich?
Do you want to talk about Raw or do you want to talk a little bit about Raw?
Give me your highlights.
It was a fun Raw. I enjoyed it. I like that Seth opened the show with Paul Heyman and Bron Breakker. Do you think there should be a third man?
I think there should be. Yeah, I think you could really do something unique here, like you did with the Bloodline. Yeah. I think the story was that they don't have one planned, but why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they have a third man?
I have two very oddball picks for the third man.
Give me
Trick Williams.
A lot of people are anticipating Trick Williams. I've heard that name a bunch. I don't know how he would connect, but I think it would be a great rub for him to be with Heyman.
Good young guy, very talented. My other weird pick a returning Dolph Ziggler from TNA.
Oh, that's a weird one.
Right?
You know what? How about, I would say Kevin Owens if he was healthy.
Kevin Owens, if he was healthy, would be a good one. But that's also like, who's going to betray who in that situation?
Who's going to betray who, yeah. Or you bring someone up. I mean, unless you bring someone totally new up, like you put like a Ricky Saint in there or
Jeff Cobb.
Or Jeff Cobb. You know, he's showing up soon.
If Bronson Reed was healthy, I would say Bronson Reed. Even though he has that history with Seth Rollins, you know.
You got to get somebody over here. And obviously, Bron Breakker is going to be the future. Like, that's a future world heavyweight champion in this company. Yeah. There's no question about it. There's something so, you know, it's it factor, right? How many guys have we seen his size, right? Think about it. Like, that look, we have seen that. That is a look that is constantly replicated in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Not the giant, but the monster.
Right.
You know, like, I'll give you an example. Lars Sullivan.
Oh Lord.
Why he did not have it.
Right.
He's a guy that did not have it, but Bron Breakker
for many reasons.
I mean, he had something. He had something, but
Bron's got that explosiveness that makes him 10 feet tall.
Ryback's another one, you know, big, but you know what? I got to tell you something. A lot of people are very poo-poo on Ryback, and I'm just going based on his presentation. Nothing with his personal takes, nothing with his podcast or what that guy kind of got fucked because he got really, really over. Yeah. I don't think people realize how into people were with Ryback. The feed me more. And he got stuck in that program with Punk where Punk could not lose the title because he was on that stretch, 400-day stretch. And it just got muddied. And he worked with a disgruntled CM Punk. It was not good. You know what? He could have gotten over. And I'm telling you, if things went well, he would have become a world champion.
Yeah. And
you would have seen him and Bill Goldberg.
I think so. I think you would have gotten that match, or at a triple threat between Ryback, Bill Goldberg, and Bobby Lashley.
I would say he's a guy that had something. You know what's another guy that had it? Big E. He's another one like that.
Oh my God, yeah.
Big powerhouse. He has it. There's something special. Bron Breakker's definitely gonna. I hope his cousin does well too. Scott's son when he shows up.
Oh my God.
And you could do something with them because he's a big kid too. Like he's jacked like his dad. He has his father's arms. So
it's crazy.
Braun has his his uncle's voice, which is so funny. Yeah. He sounds like Scotty Steiner.
He does.
Yeah. So I like this. I like this group. They murdered Sami Zayn. That's the story here. So that's the feud. What else happened on the show?
Rhea Ripley defeated Roxanne Perez, and you have, which I really like about this program, is you have the involvement of Io Sky and Julia.
Yeah. And which Julia's I think is going to heal. So many heels now.
Julia's a heel, and I think this is going to lead to some good programming with like this little feud that they got going on. Everybody's got a little finger in it. Yeah.
Sounds like a tag.
I know I'm going to get a lot of shit now because I defended Ryback.
Who cares?
Listen, not everything needs to be like a Kenny Omega.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I could appreciate. I sometimes a big dumb goofy monster guy.
Yeah.
Works.
Do you think Ryback would have been on Braun Strowman's squad?
Oh, yeah. That 100%. They would have been on the same team. 100%.
Probably the biggest thing out of Raw is Pat McAfee.
Yeah, Pat McAfee. Where is this in the notes? I want to talk about this. You want to talk about? You talk about it. Well, you brought it up. Talk about it.
Yeah, you brought it up. We skipped a lot of shit. Yeah. You brought it up.
So out of all the things, that promo he cut, where he got up on the announce desk and he talked about Michael Cole being his ride or die, and I thought that was pretty awesome. I don't know about you guys, but he basically called out Nick Aldis, who was there for Adam Pearce to make the match, or he wanted to fight him, and he said the only way you're going to fight him is if it's in a match. So Backlash. Gunther versus Pat McAfee.
I'm into that. That seems like a really good match. I'm into it. I like McAfee's not bad.
No.
For a guy that doesn't do this at all. I mean, listen, he's no Logan Paul because Logan Paul for a guy that doesn't really do this is incredible. But
yeah, natural.
He's really good. Looking forward to it.
I think that's going to be a fun match. He's going to get murdered by Gunther, or he's going to get saved by a bunch of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I always wonder, when it comes to wrestling, and this is a thought that I always have, and I remember in the early 2000s, right? Mid 2000, when it was like Benoit and Eddie and Austin and The Rock and Triple H and Van Dam and Shawn, it was like everybody, right? Booker T, everybody. I always thought to myself, I'm like, I wonder in 20 years, how the hell are they going to top this roster? How are they going to keep filling this well? And they do, and it's amazing. And you know what stands out tremendously is the women right now.
Yeah.
Because we have now gone into that next generation after the 4 horsewomen.
Yes.
We're officially in that next generation, and it's better.
Oh, yeah.
The Stephanie Vaquers, the Rhea Ripleys, the Julias,
Liv Morgan,
the Liv Morgans, the Io Skys, Kairi Saints. This new crop of talent is actually amazing. And I'm telling you, WWE has a real problem producing main event male stars versus the women. They have somehow figured out that secret sauce on how to create these top tier female wrestlers that the audience is engaged with. If we're going to talk about through NXT, I would probably say Bron Breakker will become that breakout guy, but we talk about this all the time, and I use this as a great example. Who from NXT, developed in NXT, right? Unknown to the North American audience. Stephanie Vaquer is a great wrestler, but unknown to the American audience. Same with Julia. Unknown to the American audience. We know, obviously, when I'm saying unknown to I'm saying casual fans. But that have really, those two have not really wrestled in North America that much. One was in Mexico, one's in Japan. Who are the guys?
Again, Carmelo Hayes.
Okay. Trick Williams. Right. Okay.
Trick. I think Obafemi.
But we haven't seen them do anything yet.
Right. I think these are the guys who are prime, the guys who were fully developmental, who are primed to be in a bigger spot. Forget, Ethan Page, who has been around the world, or Ricky Saints, who's been around the world, it's interesting, I feel like I can name more female wrestlers on the NXT roster than I can guys on the come up.
I can't tell you, if you put a gun to my head and you're like, okay, who's going to be the, from NXT, who's going to be the breakout star? I can't tell you.
Yeah.
I really don't know, because it's hit or miss. That entire developmental system is so good for the women. And I really don't see. Listen, Obafemi will become a big star if they dedicate themselves to it. There's something very impressive about Obafemi. But Ethan Page, he was on North American television through TNA and AEW. Ricky Saint on AEW TV, he's established. But fascinating. I find that so curious, and I don't know if it's because they've gone so deep into the athlete category.
I think you might be right about that.
I don't know. We'll see.
But would you really count Bron Breakker as a breakout only because he's a second generation? He's a Steiner. I would because he didn't come as Rick. He didn't come as a Steiner in another territory and then go to WWE. Right. I would consider him really homegrown. He never wrestled,
Similar to Roman, the same way.
Roman was not NXT. Roman was FCW, right. And FCW developed a lot of people.
Oh my God, FCW has the hallmark of who they developed to be on television.
Good and bad. And bad. So it's so interesting. I mean, now we're seeing those FCW guys becoming world champions, and think about how long ago that was.
Yeah.
Compare that to NXT. I mean, they have a little while to go. Little while to go. SmackDown tonight. Randy Orton appears, Aleister Black and The Miz. In action, Aleister Black's eye is still infected. He showed up last week. His theme is so awesome in WWE.
Oh, I love it. Can we go back a second to Raw?
Yeah.
I feel like we skipped something important where Logan Paul challenged Jey Uso for the title.
That will be at the pay-per-view, yeah.
Now, do you think they pull the trigger?
No, but I think it would be so much
shit
heat.
Their pants.
It would be so much heat for them to do that, and I'm all for it because I'm I like when people get upset over wrestling finishes like that,
Right.
but not when a wrestling match is bad and people like people be genuinely mad. And I like that about wrestling, but I don't see that happening. You're not going to make Jey Uso a transition champion for Logan Paul.
That would be insane. That would be insane booking if that was like the play. But again,
especially winning at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like has WWE had 2 heel champions at the same time?
Not in a while.
Okay.
Not in a while. But Triple H favors heels. He always has. That's why everybody's a heel now. Becky's a heel, Julia's a heel. All right. Where do you want to go?
SmackDown?
Oh, Rusev also. Rusev's back. We didn't talk about that. Rusev's in-ring return is booked for next week's Raw. It's going to be him versus Otis.
Great.
Also, JD McDonough versus Penta. Let's talk about Dynamite, because this was a interesting Dynamite. It did decent in the numbers. Collision had a huge number last week. It was led in by the NBA.
Yeah.
And they had a huge number that stayed. A lot of it stayed, which is positive. I thought this was a good show. They did a lot of things here that is telling you the setup for the future, which I absolutely love. The Young Bucks and Okada and Ricochet defeated Kenny Omega, Speedball Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, and Mark Briscoe. The story here was, they did the Kenny Omega and Okada face-off.
Yeah.
And I like the lazy Okada that does nothing. You had the face-off, and I was a little surprised that it didn't get the big reaction when they did the face-to-face.
Yeah.
Now, I'll ask you, do you think it's because not all of the fans, obviously not all of the fans are educated to 6 years ago and what happened in Japan?
I think it's a combination of 2 things. I think it's a combination of that and also being overexcited. I feel like sometimes fans are overexcited and they can't express themselves. And I also, personally, I don't think we had this match on our wrestling bingo card at all. Look who's in this match. Young Bucks, Kenny, Okada, Ricochet, Speedball Mike Bailey, Kevin Knight, and Mark Briscoe.
Yeah, it's fantastic. All great work.
It's such a weird combination of people.
Yeah. They did a good spot where they were doing that arm break spot on the ropes on Kenny, and it ended up becoming Ricochet. The Young Bucks did it to their own teammate, which I like. Yeah. I thought that was a good spot.
The Bucks are looking good, too. Is this the biggest they've been since they tried to go heavyweight?
I think they'd look a little larger. This really was the best of PWG from 2010.
I think Excalibur said that. He was like, we don't even have to go to Reseda to see a match like this.
Oh, is that what he said? I didn't hear it. I wasn't
so,
really, yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. The Hurt Syndicate, Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin walk backstage, and they're beat up by some random people. MVP and Benjamin are still trying to convince Bobby Lashley to ease up on MJF and saying that if he swerves them. What are you trying to say there? That MJF is swerving them?
And then the next line, they will hurt him like he's never been hurt before. That's what
I'm curious what they do with this.
That's what MVP told him. Yeah.
Well, the follow-up later I thought was fantastic, which we might as well talk about now, where MJF wants to get the thumbs up from everybody in the Hurt Syndicate. And so Shelton and MVP give him the thumbs up. Lashley gives him the thumb down and murders him on TV going, if you want to be a part of the Hurt business, you have to hurt somebody.
I'm into this. But do we... I think it's such a wacky match that we're going to see Bobby Lashley and MJF.
In a trios match?
I don't know in what the hell kind of match. I think it's eventually it's going to turn into MJF turning on him,
Oh, for sure. Or them turning on Bobby Lashley. But I think, listen, I would love to see a Shelton, Bobby Lashley, MJF trios match, and they win the trios belt.
Oh, my God. And it's like the odd couple, which I like.
Yeah.
I like an odd couple team. Jon Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta. This is for the Trios Championships. The Ops defeated Miles Hawkins, Rhett Titus, and Nick Comoroto. When is the last time we saw Nick Comoroto?
This was his return, right? He was banged up a little bit?
Yeah. Big boy, Nick.
Yeah.
Jon Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta do a run-in. The Ops are prepared for them, and they eventually get separated. And this leads to Claudio hitting the neutralizer on Shibata, who's then thrown into a chair. Samoa Joe then challenges Jon Moxley to meet him inside a steel cage at AEW Beach Break.
Awesome.
where they would clash for the AEW World Championship. I think Samoa Joe is a fantastic in-between opponent for Jon Moxley and for till All In. I do not. I've said this from day one. Jon Moxley is not losing that title until All In.
I agree 100% with that. I also think that it's believable when Joe cuts that championship promo.
Yeah, because he was an AEW champion and he's such a respected badass.
Yeah.
Renee Paquette interviews Mercedes Moné. Mercedes hypes her upcoming match with Jamie Hayter. Renee's interviewing Nick Wayne. Jay Lethal shows up and challenges him to a match for the Ring of Honor Television Championship. Nick says he's not trying to fight right now. Nick is also in the Super Juniors tournament in Japan.
Yeah. That was a good match. That Jay Lethal match.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that and what he could do. It's to have a successful run, and they are really presenting him well. So I'm anticipating he's going to be positioned well in that tournament.
Yeah.
Nick Wayne says he's not trying to fight right now, but Christian accepts on his behalf. You had a world title eliminator match. Toni Storm defeated Mayu Yamashita. After the match, Mercedes... I got it right. There you go.
Nice.
I got to tell you something. I think it's like an old man thing with names. Because I was, up until like 5 years ago, I was so fucking good with these Japanese last names.
Yeah, on top of it, you're like Katsuyori Shibata.
I was like so good. And then I'm wondering, I'm like, maybe I'm not on top of it anymore. I see the same name. I say it every time. I still have to kind of say it in my head now. I think it's just like an age thing.
Yeah. A lot of stuff rattling up in that brain.
Oh, dude, you have no idea. It's a nightmare up there. It's a nightmare. Scary stuff. That's all I see. I have daymares. Oh, see, just now I just had one. Where are we now? Mercedes appears on stage. Yeah. She confronts Storm. So this is happening. This match is probably the All In match, and
awesome.
Mercedes winning at All In. That's a big moment too. You could do a double turn. You could do something unique there.
Yeah.
Where are we?
They recap showing Stokely Hathaway aligning with FTR, explaining that he spent the last year looking for the right tag team and he found it. And the goal is the AEW Tag Team Championships to solidify their legacy.
Yeah.
Great.
And then you had ROH World Television Championship, and Nick Wayne. I think you just said Christian did it.
Christian accepted on his behalf.
Yeah, on his behalf. Nick Wayne defeated.
So Christian's being the
Jay Lethal.
Yeah, trying to interrupt, insert himself in everything, and Nick Wayne's starting to not like it. So
that was a good match.
At some point, we're going to get the confrontation.
Yeah. Men's Owen Hart Foundation Tournament semifinals. Hangman Page defeated Kyle Fletcher.
What a match.
What a freaking match.
What a match. Great match. Great ending. Kyle Fletcher just keeps getting better and better, and also solidifies Hangman as like, this is why he's the guy.
Yeah. Collision lineup for Saturday. AEW Women's World Champion Toni Storm against Lady Frost in a title eliminator. Brody King versus Josh Alexander. I'm looking forward to that match. AEW Double or Nothing, Sunday, May 25th. Here's the card so far. Owen Hart Foundation Men's Tournament Finals. Will Ospreay versus Hangman Page. Women's, Mercedes Moné, Jamie Hayter. A lot of people think it's Hangman that's going to win this. And I will tell you, it is most likely not. I would be surprised, because what a big moment at All In for Will Ospreay to win that title.
Yeah.
Right? You have to think about what matches will most people want to go see.
Yeah.
And what outcomes do you give them? You have to give people the outcome that they want here. Especially in the optics battle for AEW.
Right.
And you got to move a lot of tickets, dude. That ticket, it has not really moved. Obviously, we still have time till July, but they're not really moving aggressively. But everything else, I mean, Forbidden Door, great ticket sales. The show in Mexico, great ticket sales. This week's Dynamite actually beat last time that they were in the venue. They almost had, I think they had 4,000 people in the building, which AEW has not done that for a TV in a while, for a regular TV. So there is a trajectory happening here of positive. Very little gains, but it's a positive.
Yeah.
But you got to sell, another 20,000 tickets for the show to make that building look great.
Right.
I don't think that's going to happen. So can you move another 10,000 tickets on just the card alone with Kenny Omega and Okada for a unification match, and Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley for the world title, and Mercedes Moné and Toni Storm for the women's world title. Is that enough for your top 3?
I think you're going to need a well-rounded full card. But what surprises would they have left? That's the thing, like they have a very healthy roster right now. Do we get some kind of return? Would a Danielson return move the needle for like a one-off thing?
I think if Danielson can, if his neck is healthy enough, he will. But I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if he's swerving everybody.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you this for a fact. When we reported that Danielson was going to be at All Out that year that we were there in 21.
Yeah.
Maybe I should tell the story.
Yeah, please.
Dave was on the phone with Danielson. Like trying to get it out of him. And Danielson was like, "No, dude, I'm at home. I'm not even there."
Yeah.
And
meanwhile.
Yeah. And then that's when he took the pistol out and put it to my wife's head. And he's like, "What does Zarian know?" You were there for that.
I was there. I was in the elevator.
Yeah. You were in the elevator. You saw it. It was scary. He turned into a monster. That he turns into Bane. Like you could tell, like sometimes, like that, when he was watching that main event of WrestleMania, he gave it 1.25 stars. He turned into Bane. He's just smashing the keys on the keyboard.
It's getting bigger right in front of you.
Bigger and bigger. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like that. Incredible. Do you want to do Q&As?
Let's do some Q&As.
Let's do a Q&A, boys and girls. Submit your questions in the chat. We will do our best to answer them for the next 10 minutes.
12 minutes, yeah.
Yep.
Great. Perfect. We got a $1.99 from Tom Talks Rubbish. What's up, Tom? What's up, my guys? Hope life is treating you well. Thank you,
I got to get on Tom's show. He's been asking me to come on, but it's just been crazy. I haven't even barely done any of my shows. So I'm going to try to make room and come back on.
Good guy. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what else we got here. We have Cadillac Carson. What do you think about the Seth Rollins faction getting cheered? Is it bad when Sami Zayn is getting killed and the fans love it? They're cool heels, right?
They're cool. I mean, because Heyman's associated, so they love the song that Seth has. I hate that theme. I want him to go back to the other one.
And he was dressed like an Armenian candle.
And he's dressed like an Armenian candle. Yeah, that's exactly what he. Do you know that coat that he was wearing is a Pakistani designer? And it was $13,000.
Wow.
And he was dressed like an Armenian candle.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Not complaining. I mean, like I'm a fan.
How about the glasses with the eyeballs on them?
Oh my God. I'm a fan of Seth's outfits, but part of me does feel bad that it's like now this is his thing and he has to do this shit every
time. I know. Every time.
Let's see. This is from SkyTel. Andrew, check with Arthur Ashe. Could we see All Out take place there in the midst of the Philly residents?
What's the week?
October?
I think the U.S. Open will be going on.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, so what's the last date for? Yeah, the U.S. Open is the 24th to the 7th, September 7th. Mm-hmm. So you cannot run anything before that or right after.
Yeah.
So it obviously would not be the weekend of the 7th, but maybe they could make. No, they're running till when? September 11th, you said, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they run till September 11th, and then they come up for that Sunday to... Let me see what date that falls on. Hold on. Let's go to September here on my calculator. So, I mean, I guess they could run the weekend of the 13th or the 14th in Arthur Ashe.
Right.
And they just don't do Grand Slam?
Okay.
I don't know. I know that they're planning on coming back because they like that space, but I have to tell you, the last show I went to there, it had lost a lot of the magic of that building. You were there. You were there.
Well, also, like, I think it was the situation where, like, they kind of shoved us in the corner.
That was a boo-boo, yeah.
But it was fun. But again, it wasn't hype like the last couple of years. It was
you got
good.
You got Nigel McGuinness and Bryan Danielson on that show.
Yeah. Great effing match.
Great match. But you know what? If they use it for a pay-per-view, they would have far more success. But the availability of that building is very limited. You can't run it in the winter because it gets too cold. You can't run it, in essentially from August to the third week or second week in September. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But you know what I'm looking forward to? When they built that soccer stadium.
Oh, forget it.
Running a wrestling show there, and that's a great venue for an outdoor stadium because it's only going to be 25,000 seats. So, you could have that outside stadium feel and not have to sell 60,000 tickets.
Exactly. I'm so looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Paul Anthony Moss says, seems like they're building to Nick Wayne eventually turning on Christian. Would you have him bring in someone like a Kill Switch or Jack Perry to help him finish off Christian?
I'm going to come to that question, but SkyTel put a great thing in here. Or Louis Armstrong Stadium. They were running Louis Armstrong Stadium last year. They were not going to run Arthur Ashe. They were running Louis Armstrong because Louis Armstrong is 13,000 seats, and it's a little bit more like this, like the way that the building is set. Like Arthur Ashe goes. Let me see if I could do hand. Arthur Ashe goes out like this. Louis Armstrong is inwards.
Yeah. Do that again.
Doing charades.
Do it again.
This.
It goes like that, and then like that.
I'm not putting this hand the other way. I'm not putting the hand the other way, okay?
It goes like this.
It goes like this.
Does it go like this? Does it go like
goes
this?
like this and like this. Oh, it's happening again. It's happening again. Little by little, I'm turning orange. I'm going tanning today too.
Last 5 minutes of the show.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see your tan tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be tan Drew. Okay,
back,
so
baby.
this question. Paul Anthony Moss, the greatest name in the comments section. Seems like they're building to Nick Wayne eventually turning on Christian. Would you have him bring in someone like Killswitch? What if they all turn on Christian and Edge saves them?
Sure.
I
like that. Speaking of Edge,
still can't call him Edge, by the way.
Didn't the name lapse for a day?
The name lapsed for a day. You want to go into that? I'll be right back. Okay, give me 2 seconds. You go.
Yeah. So apparently the trademark lapsed on Edge, let's say yesterday.
Yeah.
And then today, WWE got the trademark again. So I'm assuming there was a gap of like 12 hours where he could have gotten it, scooped it, and become Edge again.
Yeah, and we talked about it. You were a proponent of it, and I didn't care one way or the other, to be honest with you.
You know what? I like it because that's it. Listen, I'm an easy wrestling fan, and that's what we know the guy is, right?
I've gotten used to it, the Cope thing, even though it's a silly name. I've gotten used to it, so it didn't bother me.
It's like calling if Rob Van Dam couldn't use Rob Van Dam, and he had to go by like Roy Van Doy or some shit like that, you know?
No,
what are we doing here?
All right, let's go. What else?
Let's see. We got Armand asks, do you believe Jeff Cobb's retirement poster is it a work?
It's a work.
All right. Matty P. Who could realistically take the tag titles from the Hurt Syndicate?
That's the problem.
FTR is my only choice for that.
You need someone that's bigger than the Bucks.
Yeah.
I think that would be the match at All In, FTR and Hurt Syndicate.
Sure. But I think the Hurt Syndicate needs to keep those titles until MJF helps them retain or something, and they love them.
Edge and Christian could take the titles off of them.
There you go. There you go. That'll happen. Cadillac Carson, can you name 5 wrestlers from any era that you think you could beat in an Easter egg hunt?
Dude, did I show you the Easter egg hunt from at Jess's mom's?
No, you did not.
No, Jess and her cousin, they went at it.
Oh yeah,
they went at it. Elbows, biting. There was someone was in a shoot figure 4.
I gotta see this.
Oh, Michelle and Jess beat the shit out of each other for the fucking egg.
For the kids. It's for the children.
No. This is the adult Easter egg hunt.
Oh, they do an adult one?
We do an adult one.
Wow.
I've taken my loafers. I've thrown it to cousin Tommy. I've like, my first year doing it was at Jess's. So we're like 20 something. I'm like 22, and her cousin was annoying me. Her cousin Lauren. Okay, during the hunt. So I took the scissors, cut the bottom of the bag. She lost all of her eggs. She had no idea, and she started crying hysterically. Still to this day, she has no clue it was me.
Wow. Well, I mean, she's a fan of the show, so you just revealed it.
I revealed it. Yeah. Sorry, Lauren.
Apparently, according to Wheelchair Hulk, the copyright on the merch never lapsed. Just the name.
Yeah. So A lot of people got excited that he'll be able to kind of get this trademark back and use the name, but it's useless if you can't merchandise it.
So, who do you think you could beat in an Easter egg hunt?
Wrestlers.
Braun Strowman.
Name me 5 wrestlers who from any era that you think you could. I could beat Bastion Booger.
Jim Duggan.
I could beat Yokozuna. I could definitely
Sheik.
beat Jim Duggan. Sheik 100%. He can't bend.
And
Let
can't
me
see.
tell you, Baba.
Tonk.
Tatanka, he'll just dance around.
No, Honky Tonk.
Oh, Honky Tonk Man, yeah. He'll just... there's no way he's bending over either. And Brutus Beefcake I could definitely beat.
Giant Gonzalez.
Giant Gonzalez, he can't reach.
Mm-hmm.
He's a slender man.
And Ahmed Johnson.
That's another guy. He's never seen an egg.
We got or starve. We got 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
Brian Knight asks, predict what the 2 main events for SummerSlam will be.
CM Punk and
Roman.
John Cena?
No, John Cena and hold on, let's do this. I'm gonna go CM Punk and let's do a tag match.
Okay.
CM Punk and Roman versus somebody. Maybe Seth and Braun.
Sure. I'd love that.
Night 2 or 1, whatever, will be Cody versus whoever the opponent is for the title.
Okay.
You do 1 tag and you do 1 title.
Great. I'm with that. Everything Pro Wrestling asks, what's up, guys? What will be the next moment goal AEW need to hit? I feel the wrestling outlook turning for AEW.
Yeah, for the positive, because they've been putting on good shows. I think a lot of again, it's turning because there's no, like, fandom is very strange. It's very unique. When things get hot, WWE got very, very hot, and everybody started going on that side, but now you're already seeing the turn happening. People don't have patience. And if you follow the history of professional wrestling, okay, I love the history of it. I'm not a historian like Dave or Jim Cornette. Right. Jim is one of the, Dave and Jim are probably out of like 5 people left that are true wrestling historians. I mean, they're the 2 of those. If you follow the history of professional wrestling, you will see there's ebbs and flows to every promotion, and you gotta change. And promotions get very cold, and then they get very hot again. And AEW made the CM, it wasn't a series of mistakes, I would say, for AEW. I think it was a series of unfortunate events.
Yes.
The CM Punk situation did not help. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks and CM Punk, 4 major stars in your company not being on your TV in a crucial period with bad optics and not injury hurt them tremendously.
Yes, 100%.
Cody leaving hurt them tremendously because the optics of Kumbaya was over. The honeymoon was over. Yeah. They were still a startup with startup mentality that had to become an well-organized machine. And that's very difficult. Listen, dude, this is what I do. I work with startups. I work with brand new companies. I consult with them. And I saw it happening when it just unfortunate events. And now we're out of there. Now enough time has passed where they're developing new stars like Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. You have Hangman Page in a good position. You have Kenny Omega healthy there. You have Okada there. That's leading up to it. You have Mercedes that everybody poo-pooed on that said, oh, her work, she's wrestling like she's in WWE. She's cutting. Give it time. And now she's incredible. It works.
Matches are like
definitely worked.
Okay, so
best.
You got to give things time. I know it's fun to be hysterical and look at the camera and scream about Tony Khan being this and Triple H being that, and it's over. Oh, it's over. Guys, it's a fucking TV show, and sometimes you have better seasons than others.
Exactly. And in the words of Rambo, it's never over.
In the words, Rambo's still fighting, dude. He's still going. All right, do you want one more, or do we...
I think that's a good note to end on, to be
honest.
By the way,
the big monumental goal should be that All-In show should be a definitive reset moment where you know where everybody in this company is positioned and what's happening next.
Exactly.
That's how you got to do it. Will Ospreay being world champion, Kenny or Okada being that next, that unified champion, the champion's champion, you have something there. You have Mercedes and Tony, two of the most talked about women wrestlers. I mean, to some of them, right? Out of the top, they're the most talked about right now. You have that match. You obviously are going to have a Young Bucks match. Obviously, you're going to have other things happening. The momentum is happening. It's going. You just need to do consistently.
Yes.
I have one to end on.
Let me just say one more thing, right? The ratings are a big topic of conversation, and I'll be out of here. I know you got to get out in 2 seconds. The ratings are a big topic of conversation. The ratings are stable.
Right.
I said it from day one, and people got mad. AEW was never going to be a 1.4 million, 1.3 million live viewed show. That was really an anomaly because it all hit at a very unique time. They came in super, super hot, where the expectation became WWE level numbers for attendance and merch and pay-per-views and television viewership. Mm-hmm. That's not the reality. WWE which is wild. And they came close, really. And possibly they can come closer. Most likely, I think being in the 700s is such a healthy number for them, for that TV show. Nobody's going to complain. But if you give it time and you watch and you enjoy, it's a very different way of viewing, instead of viewing things as a critic. Same with WWE. I thought WrestleMania was a fun show. You know why? Because my kids loved it.
Right, exactly.
I am aged out. I'm 430 years old.
And a half.
Do you know how many times I've been buried alive, dude?
Mm-hmm.
Every time they find out, they bury me alive, and then I just pop up 300 years, 100 years later, 50 years later.
Too many to count.
Way too many to count. I know how this works. All right. We're out of here.
All right.
Love you all.
Later.
Can we...
What? Oh, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead, MG. What do you
want?
I wanted to end on this last question.
Yeah, you're on.
Who in wrestling match would win in a wrestling match? Tyree Halliburton's dad or Papa Zarian?
Oh, Fred is a dirty fighter. He'll bite you.
Yeah.
Listen.
Okay, there we go.
I go for fucking eyes. I bite. If my father was a wrestler, you know who his best friends would be?
The Crusher.
There's two of them. Ken Shamrock, and Eddie Guerrero. Those would be his best friends.
There you go.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He constantly reminds you that Eddie's Spanish, too. No, he's Spanish.
This guy.
All right, guys.
Is your dad coming tomorrow?
All right.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Oh, I can't wait.
He'll be there. Fred will be there. All right, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.